Only 10% of the Amazon jungle has been explored so far. But what about the other 90%? Even when modern technologies such as LiDAR and satellite photography have revealed previously unknown networks of roads, settlements, and strange buildings that may be thousands of years old, the Amazon jungle remains largely unknown. And the few people who dared to try and uncover the mysteries that hide under the tree canopy have been silenced. What secrets are hidden in the jungle, and who would want them to remain hidden? Despite not being able to find the lost cities with their gold, silver, and cinnamon, explorers have reported incredible finds over the centuries. Some of them speak of strange bioluminescent creatures, glowing rivers, and even singing trees. Perhaps the most amazing and dangerous find in the Amazon jungle is the unique Shanai Timpisca, known as the River of Boiling Water. This river was extensively studied, and its temperature is always over 200 degrees Fahrenheit. That is around 100 degrees Celsius, the boiling point of water. And although nobody knows exactly how it works, its scientists agree that this strange phenomenon is produced by geothermal reasons, although there are no active volcanoes nearby. In 2011, Peruvian geoscientist Andres Russo noted an average temperature of 187 degrees Fahrenheit or 86 degrees Celsius, and observed that such temperature was fatal to the wildlife who had the bad luck of dipping into its waters. He followed the river until it disappeared into the ground, and for this reason, he concluded that the underground flow of the river somehow heated up the waters, so that they were boiling when it emerged to the surface. On the other side of the Amazon, near the mouth of the Amazon River in the Brazilian state of Pará, there were an incredible amount of UFO sightings during the 1970s. The peak of sightings came in 1977, in what until this day is known as the UFO incident of Colares, because they happened in a short span of time at Colares Island. The local commotion was so great that the Brazilian Air Force decided to send a research team to find out what was happening at Colares. After a few months, the Air Force packed up everything, confiscated every local person's photographs of the UFOs, and classified them as top secret. No official explanation was given by the Brazilian government. The Colares documents were declassified in the last few years, allowing the public to finally learn what happened in 1977. In October, the official documents claim came the first reports of circular UFOs emitting powerful light beams. In November, these sightings became part of the daily life of local people, who started to report suffering inexplicable burns, bruises, and other physical effects after being reached by the light beams. Only then did the government send a team of researchers who interviewed the local people and combined photographic and video evidence of the UFOs. Coincidentally, as we will see later, these sightings happened at the same time when Nazi scientists were experimenting in the Amazon jungle. For this purpose, they had built secret aviation bases and runways in the middle of the jungle, just like the ones they had already built in Antarctica. Nazi scientists who were members of the secret Tool Society were very much interested in finding the underground tunnels that connected different parts of the Amazon jungle and other regions of the world, including Antarctica. Originally, the Tool Society was a group of German occultists interested in studying the remote past of the Germanic peoples, but later became affiliated to the Nazi Party, where they helped Adolf Hitler escape certain death at the end of World War II. We will return to this topic later in this video. But before that, there is one other unexplained appearance in the Amazon jungle that we need to talk about. This happened in 2019, when the appearance of a dead humpback whale in the jungle made the news all over the world. Scientists were baffled to find the enormous cetacean grounded some miles inland, although not far from the mouth of the Amazon River. This whale was approximately 4,000 miles away from its expected feeding grounds. To this day, it is unclear how it got there. And speaking of animals, the Amazon jungle has its fair share of strange and mysterious animals. At first, most of them were only known thanks to the stories of natives, but after some time, scientists discovered them and sometimes managed to capture a photograph of one of them. The mapinguari, or juma, was a giant humanoid animal that could reach a stature of 8 feet 2 inches or 2.5 meters. Its roar was supposed to be more like a guttural growl that filled the hearts of the natives with fear. Local people also reported that its smell was so strong that people who smelled it fainted every single time. Native legends explained that these animals were simply shamans who were trapped in their animal form after a failed ritual ceremony. Meanwhile, scientists believed that this type of animal, which resembled a giant sloth, had disappeared 9,000 years ago. Scientists were wrong, as is proven by the fact that many different tribes with no communication between them have consistently reported meeting a giant rainforest animal whose characteristics were the fetid smell and the strange guttural roar. The mapinguari was considered only a folk tale by scientists until they came across the Serra de Capivara rock art depictions, where these giant sloths were seen as hunted by humans. More recently, in 2017, archaeologists entered an 8-mile-long or 12-kilometer-long cave deep in the Colombian Amazon to find hand-scrawled images showing the same type of giant sloth, as well as other big animals such as mastodons. The Peruvian Amazon is said to be the home of a creature known as chulachaqui, a dangerous animal that led people, and especially children, astray in the forest. This beast kidnaps children and adults, supposedly to kill them and eat them. Even plants are deathly in the Amazon. The strychnos plant boasts about 500 different highly toxic species, and they are used by locals to poison their arrows and blow darts. Finally, much smaller than the earthen mounds made by people, certain inexplicable silk structures found in Peru were nicknamed silkhenge. At first, nobody knew what made them, but scientists discovered that there were spiders who had been creating unique silk structures for completely unknown reasons. The silkhenge designs are incredibly intricate and continue to fascinate entomologists to this day. The U.S. Air Force has declassified certain documents from the early 1940s concerning the existence of clandestine German airfields in the Brazilian Amazon jungle. U.S. spies at the time thought their main objective was to attack Panama, but as you will see, their motives were much more sinister and ambitious. Back in 1935, Germany made a supposedly scientific expedition to northeastern Brazil. The aims were vague and included the exploration of the area and finding the tributaries of the Jari River. But the truth was, they were looking for genetical experiment subjects among the local population. There was a second objective which had to do with the possibility of taking French Guiana by force to annex it to the Third Reich. Finally, this idea was abandoned when the Nazis were able to set up bases in Antarctica. When the war ended in 1945, Nazi officials and scientists fled to America, some to Argentina and some to Brazil. Joseph Mengele, the Angel of Death, was eager to continue his genetic experiments in the New World, and southern Brazil was the perfect place to do so, as it was secluded and there was no extradition treaty between Brazil and Germany, and there were already numerous Germans who were established in the area since the 1930s. Once there, he got in touch with German officials working with extraterrestrial technology in the secret airfields to ask for protection and a private laboratory with access to human test subjects. However, nothing is known of these experiments, and he died in 1976, just before the UFO sightings of Colares. Geneticist James Neal and anthropologist Napoleon Chagnon took after Mengele when they got involved in certain experiments with the American Atomic Energy Commission in Venezuela. Chagnon was well known for his work among the Yanomami, a secluded but numerous tribe on the border between Venezuela and Brazil. Chagnon and Neal were responsible for starting a severe measles epidemic and killing hundreds or maybe thousands of Yanomami in the late 1960s. The exact number will never be known, as both Chagnon and the Atomic Commission declined to speak about the incident. Neil was a supporter of Joseph Mengele and a firm believer in eugenic theories, that is, the belief that one can improve the genetic quality of humankind by either killing off people with bad genes or encouraging the breeding of people with good genes. This involved infecting thousands of Yanomami to find out how resistant to diseases they were. The objective was to find out what might happen to communities after a large number of their members were wiped out, as would happen in a nuclear war. After starting the epidemic, Neil and Chagnon instructed their colleagues not to give medical assistance to the infected natives, but only observe and document the epidemic. In 1968, Chagnon published his famous book called Yanomamo, The Fierce People. He claimed that these particular people were prone to violence and warfare, and their interactions were mostly aggressive. He failed to mention in the book that he himself had introduced in the community large numbers of modern weapons such as axes and knives, and deliberately gifted them to some groups but not to others, so they would fight for control of the weapons. Chagnon and Neil's experiments were just another example that shows the extent to which things that happened in the Amazon were mostly unknown in the outside world, as Chagnon was deemed a reputable scholar even after that. With this knowledge, we can say that it is not because of bad weather or logistical difficulties that the Amazon jungle is still kept unexplored. Government cover-ups, secret and illegal experiments in military bases, and native guides leading explorers to certain death are just a few of the reasons why not many people have explored or even survived the Amazon. Even with all the available evidence of animals previously thought to be extinct, UFO sightings, lost civilizations, and advanced landscape engineering dating back hundreds of years ago, there are powerful interests that actively work to keep the treasures of the Amazon jungle a secret. Fortunately, little by little, thanks to the advancement of technology and the declassification of official documents, the truth about the Amazon rainforest is coming to light. The question is the general public prepared to accept it?